Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tanisha. If you are new here, thank you for joining me. And if you are returning, welcome back. I am so glad that you returned. So in today's YouTube video, I actually want to talk about 5 things that starting over taught me. I want to start off by saying that in my immediate circle, my close friends, my family, most times a lot of my friends, they don't consider themselves single mothers. And I think that that term actually has a different meaning depending on who you speak to. My definition of a single mother is you are a mom and you are single. I don't go much deeper into that term. I have spoken with other friends who actually are not with anyone. They don't have a partner. They're not with their children's father, but they don't consider themselves a single mother. Someone explained to me why, and I can't really wrap my brain around it, so I didn't digest it well enough to be able to reiterate that to you guys. It was something along the lines of single parent versus single mom, and if the father is in the life, you're not a single mom, you are, and that's too much for me. I'm not with my kid's father. I'm a mom. I'm single right now. I paired the two as a single mom. You don't have to feel that way about yourself. And I understand that it's almost like a derogatory term to use. But once you start saying single mom, it's like people frown upon it. They find a way to see how you contributed to the situation that you're in, which is fine. Sometimes some of us have, and other times some of us are just dealing the cards that we are dealt. So I think that if you are in a position similar to this, it is important for you to identify yourself. What do you identify as? And then work through that, because things might look a little bit different for you than it looked for me. And that is absolutely okay. I try not to talk too much about being a single mom because, like I said, it is frowned upon. People also feel pity for you sometimes. I think people, in the beginning, even myself, cast this embarrassing shadow over that, just period. Like, it's just embarrassing. So I get it, which segues me into why I feel like this video is actually important to me, because I've had so many conversations just by being transparent. And it really enlightened me to not be so close minded to this situation. I was so close minded that sometimes we know that it doesn't matter who you are, what your nationality is, what your race is, what your upbringing was, you can become a single mother. And it's just seems a little bit more heavier on the Black woman. That's just my perspective. That's just my views. That has been my experience. I cannot talk for anyone else. I'm just talking for myself. So when I speak to other people and I hear their stories, I'm like, okay, this makes me more comfortable with speaking about it. And the more comfortable I became speaking about it, the more experience I've learned from other people. And it is just something that is a part of life. So here we are. We're going to talk about it today. So the more comfortable I got with speaking about it, owning my truth, and not being embarrassed about it, I then found myself in these really deep conversations with people, whether they're friends, distant friends, associates, coworkers, just whoever. And I'm finding that there are so many people who are in unhappy relationships. There are a lot of people who are staying for the children. There are people who are asking me, how did you walk away with 2 little ones? Like, whoa. Yeah. Especially right after postpartum. And then sometimes the interest that someone is showing or the questions that they're asking can be very telling, yet they're not sharing much of what's going on with them. And that's fine. I don't pry. If we're having an open dialect, then we can have that. I don't ask too much. I don't push, because your situation isn't tea for me. I got my own shit going on. Excuse me. I got my own stuff going on. So, and I've come to a point in my life where Things like that don't make me chuckle. Things like that is not funny. It's just not me. So I wanted to come on here and just share 5 things that Starting Over taught me for the woman who needs this but isn't ready to talk about it. Walking away was not easy for me. It was scary, it was emotional, it was uncertain, and I definitely did not have a game plan. Not only did I not have a game plan, I also didn't feel like I really had a choice. When you are faced with such betrayal, you just have no choice but to persevere. And I don't say that in a way that if someone is truly broken and it really alters their life in a way that they are not proud of. This video is an encouraging video. Your life is so much worth more than your circumstances. So my first thing is, and it's kind of like, I almost don't want to say it, but co-parenting done correctly really lightens the load. I'm not saying that in a way of push your children off. I would have loved to have my children with me 24/7, but I'm going to be honest on this channel. When you're in a relationship, especially as the mother, sometimes you are still taking on a heavier load than the other person. Now, while co-parenting isn't ideal, and even when it's done quote unquote correctly, it is really hard to really split down the middle responsibilities. And that's why I'm just saying that it actually lightens the load. I actually do get a chance to decompress, relax, and do absolutely nothing. Yes, sometimes when I don't have my children with me and they're with their father, I still feel overwhelmed because it's like I have so much that I have to do before they come. But there are these little one off days where I actually do nothing. I would spend my Friday night just eating takeout, laying down in my bed. And that would have never happened had everyone been living here in the same house. And while I would have definitely chosen to have my family whole and to not have that break, that's not the situation. So, what we're doing is we are looking at the silver lining. And the silver lining is yes, when the children are not here, you do get a break. Your load does feel a little bit lighter. And when I think about it, I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with it, and it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. Second tip that Starting Over taught me, my peace is invaluable. Once you make a change in your life and you're like, hey, you know what? I choose myself, I choose peace, you could never go back. Peace does not look like fireworks when it's happening. It's not this big introduction. It literally seeps in slowly and you will start to feel it. In the beginning, you're not gonna, I made the right choice. Bam! Everything is great. Life is good. My life is gonna turn around tomorrow. No, slowly but surely. And I have this saying that I always say, it's cliche, but it's in here, embedded. Time heals all wounds. You leave things to time, things heal. When you have a scrape, you got to give it time to heal. When you are making a life changing decision or you're experiencing a life changing decision, it's going to take time, but it will heal. Tip number 3, stability builds confidence. Starting over forced me to put a magnifying glasses over everything in my life, my patterns, my habits, my finances. And it's not something that just came overnight. I had to sit with everything that I was feeling. I had to recognize that I have a heavy load on me. And then I had to chop it down. I had to stabilize myself because I was all over the place. Once I got things in order, you couldn't stop me. I, I gained a confidence in myself that I'm like, I don't even need a life coach. Okay? I don't need a financial advisor. I got this. I know the patterns that was affecting me. I know the patterns that was affecting my children. I knew the habits that I had to break. And we all know old habits die hard. But I took the time to really put a microscope over all of these things. And I'm not perfect, but my confidence was very low. very low because of the rut that I felt like I was in at that time. But as I crept up, as I started taking charge over certain things, that's when my confidence boosted out of the ceiling. And it's actually why I'm sitting here and making this video, because I feel confident enough to sit in front of a camera. I feel confident enough to know that my experiences taught me enough for me to move forward and to be where I am today. And where I am today, I'm very happy. Tip number 4, your kids need a more regulated home than a perfect one. That was very important to me. And I'm going to share something that might show my ignorance at the time, but I'm a flight attendant. And like I said in the beginning of this video, my peers, the people that I surrounded myself around, we all had this like one track type of mind where certain things just don't happen. So when the split happened, I'm like, oh my goodness, the kids are not going to have, what am I asking for? We're not together, but I want you in their lives and I want us to do this together still for them. And if we're not going to do this together, we have to do this separately. So what does that mean? Am I asking him to take them for 2 weeks and then I have them for 2 weeks? How does that look for me? How will that feel for me? And I start to look around and nobody else is doing that. But you know where I did see it? On the plane. And that's when I realized that I am actually blessed that we are all never too far away. We're an hour away, we're 30 minutes away, where he's living, where I'm living, because there are children that are traveling across the country. I'm a mom to unaccompanied minors that are traveling from Houston to New York, Denver, LA, all of these places, and they're young. And sometimes when I speak to them and I'm like, okay, what are you going to do this weekend? They're like, oh, I'm going to hang out with my mom this weekend, or I'm going to hang out with my dad, or I'm spending the summer with this parent, or I'm spending the holidays with that parent. I would just sit down and say, wow, somebody else is out there and they're doing this. And it's not just you. It's not just you. And it's not just me. And if you're watching this, it's not just you. And what's important is routine. I think that's my biggest thing in my situation, routine. So, what I took from that whole situation is that my kids needed a present me more than anything, a consistent me more than anything, and a peaceful me more than anything. And back to number 1, the load being lighter allows you to step up and do more when you get that small little break. And tip number 5, it's more like a reminder. You will grieve and you will grow at the same time. These two things can be happen simultaneously. You will grieve what it was, what you thought it was. You will grieve what you thought it was going to be, the future that you thought you were going to have. But you will grow in knowing that you made the right decision, in knowing where you started when it all happened to where you're going, or maybe where it ended. You might be in the journey, or you might have found the end of your journey. But either way, you can grieve and you can grow at the same time. Grieving doesn't mean failure. It really just means you loved, and that's okay. So if you're quietly starting over, I just want you to know that you're not weak for feeling afraid or defeated. So whatever you decide, just remember that you deserve peace, stability, and a life that feels like your own. If this video spoke to you, go ahead and subscribe because I have so much more in store. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, loves.